Welcome everybody. So this is Meditation Flow. The format of this class is a little different than your traditional Vinyasa class, so I'll recap for us. It's been a long time since some of us have done this flow, but it's awesome to have you here. So this class, rather than me kind of being with you every step of the way, guiding every posture, the class is going to be broken out into 3 segments, each of which will do a little flow together, and then you'll have time to either do that flow again 1 or 2 times through, or do anything else that feels good in your body. So the goal is to tune within, to move with your breath, and find what feels good for you this evening. So on that note, we are going to get started laying down today. So if you want to find a cozy resting position, and if you'd rather sit up, by all means feel free to do so. I'll be guiding our opening meditation laying down. Find what works in your body and your practice tonight. And once you find your resting position for our opening meditation, eventually draw your eyes closed. And we'll take the next couple of moments to truly arrive here and now. Whether you're laying down or seated, gently feel the support of the ground beneath your body. Allow your body to get heavy towards the ground beneath you, just allowing all of your weight to fall towards the support of the ground. And as you're here, take a moment to gently release and let go of the day you've had, or possibly even the week that you have had so far. Imagine it all just drifting away from you. And doing the same thing with anything that's left to do tonight or for the rest of the week. Let it all go as best you can. Take a moment to truly grant yourself permission to be here now. You made it, you arrived. The hardest part is over. For the next hour, you just get to be here and now with yourself in your body. And begin to connect with your breath, finding the feeling of every inhale and exhale. Maybe you pause for a couple moments, focusing your awareness on the nostrils, feeling the breath rush in and out. Notice how your breath feels in this moment. Maybe you stay with the breath in the nostrils, or you travel inwards, now feeling the inhales and exhales in the chest, the heart center. Feeling this chest expand and rise on the inhales, and on the exhale, soften and lower. And allow your mind to simply be anchored in the feeling of the breath. And again, maybe you stay in this region, or possibly navigate one more step further. Now feeling the inhales and exhales in the rib cage, the belly. Feeling the core of the body expand on inhales and soften on exhales. Again, be with your own unique breath. Let yourself feel the integrity, the entirety of every inhale and exhale. And as we practice this evening, our breath will be our anchor to here and now, to the present moment. Our task is to set the mind, the awareness on feeling the breath. And whenever the mind begins to think, which it inevitably will, or if it wanders away, when you notice it, the practice is simply coming back to every inhale and exhale. So take a couple moments, truly root yourself in the rhythm of the breath, feeling every inhale and exhale before we begin to flow. If you'd like to stay in this posture, staying with the feeling of the breath, feel free to do so. And if at any point this evening you'd like to come back to this space, again, this is your practice, so find what feels best for you as we flow. If and when you're ready to move, follow an inhale to gently reach the hands up overhead, stretching towards the wall behind you, feet pulled towards the front of the room. Give yourself a nice full body stretch. On an exhale, gently hug the knees in towards you, wrapping the arms around the legs, Apanasana, knees to chest pose. And maybe you add a gentle rock side to side, just checking in with the body. Keep your awareness inwards as you notice the feeling of the back body, the hips, possibly the legs, the neck. Just become aware and try to release any sorts of judgment. From here, we'll gently make our way towards seated. So your choice, either fall over to one side and press yourself up, or begin to rock up and down the length of your mat until you arrive in a seated posture. So just find whatever mode feels good for you. And take your time. We will eventually meet up in a comfy seat. So that can mean all sorts of things, whether that's with the legs crossed or legs extended. Find what works for your knees this evening. And this is where we're going to start our first flow. Our first posture, we'll inhale to reach the hands up overhead and then clasp the hands. On the exhale, you'll experiment in your body. Maybe you'll flip the palms so the palms now face up towards the ceiling. If this feels like too much, you can easily just keep the hands with palms face down, okay? Exhale here, relax the shoulders down the back body, and then maybe you begin to pull the hands back behind you. So I'll turn so you can see. It's just a subtle movement, but the hands just shift back slightly. Should feel some sort of opening up in the upper shoulder area, maybe even the heart center or the chest. Relax the shoulders as much as possible and keep the low belly pulling in. So we're not arcing into a back bend, we're keeping the torso nice and tall. Relax the jaw, maybe you close the eyes. We're working into opening the heart center, the chest this evening. Let's take one more big breath. On your exhale, slowly float the hands on down. Moving into a hug next. So on your next inhale, arms come out in front of you. Right elbow stacks over left, and then you're going to grasp around your shoulder. So it depends how far you go. Maybe you really kind of inch the fingertips onto the shoulder blades. Maybe you're just holding onto the heads of the shoulders. Wherever you are, elbows stay lifted and shoulders relax down the back body. If this feels like enough for you, stay here, stay with the breath. If you want to add some organic movement, maybe you kind of lift one shoulder and then roll, lift the other, stretching out the side body and into the shoulder blades. Find what feels good. It's okay to move intuitively, but stay with the breath. Imagine breathing through the back body, trying to stay relaxed everywhere that is not necessary to hold the posture. And we'll take about 2 more big breaths. Flow to where it feels good. Awesome. 1 more big breath. Beautiful. On your exhale, release the arms down. Maybe you give those shoulders a quick shake. From here, same flow, but opposite hands. So inhale, hands reach up, and you're going to take the opposite pinky in front now. So it's going to feel like an awkward grip. And then exhale, flip it on up. Yeah, you got it. Once you're here, maybe you stay here. Maybe the hands begin to shift back a bit. And again, find what works in your body. Low belly gently pulls in. Relax the shoulders as much as you can down the back and add a soft bend to the elbows. Couple more big breaths. Breathe through what you feel. Imagine sending your inhales to the heart center and exhaling from that same space. One more big breath. Beautiful. On an exhale, float those hands on down towards the ground. Hugging with the opposite elbow on top now. So inhale, lift up, left elbow stacks over right, and then wrap those arms, the hands around the shoulders. Again, find where this works for you. And then when you're ready, make sure you're lifting those elbows up and relaxing the shoulders down the back body. And begin to move if that serves your body tonight. Try to synchronize the breath with the movements. Inhale to the middle of the upper back. Exhale from that same region and just allow yourself to be with what you feel. Again, releasing any sorts of judgment. Just be in your body. You showed up, you arrived here today, and that's all that matters. Enjoy the time with yourself. Let's take about one more full round of breath. You're doing a great job. And once you're ready to release, follow an exhale. So slowly lower the hands back down. Maybe you shimmy out those shoulders a bit. We're going to move into a twist next. So on an inhale, extend the legs out in front of you. Maybe you wiggle the knees a little bit, allow them to soften. And then on your next inhale, you're going to bring the left foot in towards you and then cross it over the right leg. So you can put it either as far or as close to you as it feels good in your body. Right knee presses down, toes pull back towards you. Inhale, sit up super, super tall. Exhale, right arm wraps around that left leg. Left hand comes behind you like a kickstand. And we're going to slightly hug the knee in towards the chest as we inhale and sit up nice and tall. Exhale, maybe you begin to look behind you. And we'll pause here for a couple big breaths. Keep lifting the crown of the head up towards the ceiling as you twist. Pause here, couple more full breaths. Imagine pulling the shoulder heads in opposite directions, expanding the heart center yet again. Should also be receiving a nice stretch in the outer left hip. One more full round of breath. On your next inhale, gently look forward, unwind, and exhale, straighten the left leg out. Same twist, other side. So inhale, right foot steps to the outside of that left leg. Pause here, find where this works as the distance from the hip. And then when you're ready, inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, left hand comes behind you, wraps around the leg. Right hand sets behind you like a kickstand. Inhale, crown of the head reaches up. And then exhale, begin to look behind you. Again, pause, we'll hold for a couple of big breaths. And we're gently pulling the knee in towards the chest to receive that nice stretch in the outer left hip. Right hip, left knee presses down as the toes curl back towards the shin. Expand the heart center, 2 more big breaths. One more full round of breath. On your next inhale, gently look forward, unwind, and straighten the legs out. And your choice, we're going to find one more comfortable seat for our final posture in this flow. So find where that works in your body. And we are simply going to place the hands, stacking one palm on top of another over the heart center. And maybe if it feels good for you, draw the eyes closed. Let's take a couple of moments to possibly feel into the heartbeat in the chest. Maybe you feel something, maybe you don't at this point. If it's difficult to navigate to the heartbeat, maybe you just simply feel the inhales and exhales around the heart center, the chest rising and falling. Take a couple full breaths, trying to focus all your awareness on the sensations under your hands. And as you're here, feel free to either just listen to my voice or you can watch me on the screen as I recap that flow for us. So for this flow, we started with the nice shoulder stretching. So we had the hands above the head, flipped the palms, and then reached back. We did that for about 5 breaths and then gave ourselves a nice hug. So we did that on each side, doing the opposite pinky in front and then opposite elbow on top. From there, we extended our legs out and then moved into that nice twist with the foot on the outside of the thigh, twisting around on each side. And again, about 5 breaths on each side. We ended our flow with a nice little reset posture of feeling the heartbeat or the breath in the center of the chest. So again, we did the shoulder stretches, the reaching up to the hugging on each side, move to the twist, and then our final heart posture. So take your time. Feel free to either repeat that flow 1 or 2 times, or only use maybe a couple of the postures. Do what feels good for you, and feel free to let go of that flow altogether. So take the next couple moments for yourself. I'll be here to guide where to place the mind, but this time's for you. And no matter which way you decide to move your body, please move accordingly to your breath. Initiate feeling every inhale and exhale before you add any movements to the body. Stay connected with the feeling of the breath. Again, the breath, feeling it in the body, is our anchor to here and now. When we give ourselves that anchor, that point of focus, we can then notice when our mind takes us elsewhere, when we are taken to our to-do list, or even just simply out of this room, this space together. So find that anchor within. When your mind takes you away, notice it. And when you're ready, simply come back to feeling the breath in the body. Notice if you can soften your body, your mind any further. So maybe you relax areas of the body that may not be necessary to hold the pose you're in. Softening the edges around the body and the mind. So what would it feel like to soften within? What would you have to modify or change? Maybe softening looks like being compassionate to yourself and where your mind decides to be. Maybe it simply means relaxing the face or the shoulders. How can you soften the body to soften to here and now? And again, whenever your mind begins to take you away from the feeling of the breath, or the feeling of the strongest sensation you're receiving in your body, just simply notice. And when you're ready to come back, Find your way to feeling the breath, to feeling the body. When we allow ourselves to feel, we anchor our mind in here and now as what we feel in the body is a present moment activity. And when we link our minds to these present moment activities, we in turn turn off the stress response in our bodies and allow the mind to relax. And while the practice is not staying with the breath as much as it is returning to the breath, just this practice alone and feeling the body in real time can truly allow the mind to soften, to relax, and to be. And noticing as well as we are in our home environment or potentially not in a studio that's super quiet, distractions can be not only within the mind but also external noises and stimuli. So notice if a sound happens, if you hear someone talking, where your mind goes. Use any external stimuli as a way to prompt you to come back, rather than allowing your mind to go off, maybe wishing the noise would stop or whatever it is. Notice what happens when the noise happens, whether that's internal or external, and use that as a bouncing point, as a way to come back to within, to the body, to the task at hand. Whenever you do complete your flow, and again, you have all the time you need, either continue to maybe give yourself postures, stretches, and shapes that feel good for you, or simply find a resting, holding position where you stay completely with the feeling of the breath. Again, you have all the time you need right now. But just whenever you complete your flow, find what feels good for you. Before we move on, take a couple of moments to simply observe, notice where you're at, maybe if any themes to your practice are arising right now, whether that's themes within the body, the mind, or even possibly things outside of you. Just observe. Allow yourself to be a witness to the moment. If you'd like to move on with me, we will eventually meet up in tabletop position, hands and knees. And again, that's totally optional. If you want to continue to flow and do your own thing, feel free to do so. This is all for you tonight. If you are joining me in tabletop position, we'll meet with the wrists directly under the shoulders and the knees, hips distance. Our first posture or flow is going to be a couple rounds of cat-cow. We're going to focus here on opening the heart space, so when you breathe, try to breathe into the chest and the shoulder blades. So we'll move slowly. On your inhale, belly drops down, heart pulls through as the gaze goes up. Breathe to the heart center. Exhale, round, looking towards the knees, thighs, or shoulder blades. Breathe into the space between the shoulder blades as you exhale. Inhale, opening up, looking up, breathe to the heart. Exhale, really try to lift the shoulder blades as you press the hands into the mat. Couple more rounds, inhaling as the belly pulls down. Imagine pulling the heads of the shoulders back behind you. Exhale, round, really lift the shoulder blades. Let's take one more round together. Inhale, belly pulls down as you look up towards the ceiling. Exhale to round, pressing the ground away. Inhale, come back to hands and knees, tabletop position, and then we'll move to downward facing dog. So curl the toes under, lift the knees up, and on an exhale, press your weight on back, downward facing dog. I'll pause here, take some time to work into the backs of the legs, so maybe you pedal out the feet a little bit, shift the weight forward and back side to side, just check in and move to where it feels good. Keep your mind in the body though. Just let yourself feel what's going on in the legs, the shoulders, the head. Breathe deeply. And then we will eventually, on your next inhale, begin to walk the hands back towards the feet. So we'll make our way to the backs of our mats. Once you get there, feet will be hips distance, and then on an inhale, rise up halfway and pull the heart forward. On your exhale, begin to bow down. As you do so, bend the knees so you almost create a shelf with your thighs that you can rest your belly on. And then you'll lift the hands behind you, clasping the hands. So maybe this is as far as you go. If you want to work a little bit further into the shoulders, you're going to lift the hands up off the low back. Maybe you reach them up towards the ceiling. Maybe they reach towards the front of your room. Pause here. If you're feeling most of the stretch in the legs, then please, please, please bend your knees even further. We're really working into the shoulder girdle right now rather than stretching the backs of the legs. Also, when you open your eyes, if they're closed, you see your mat, try to relax the back of your neck even further so you're looking towards the wall behind you or your legs. Breathe to the shoulders. Be with what you feel. Take a couple more full rounds of breath, just letting yourself kind of fall into the shape. One more full round of breath. You're doing a great job. And when you're ready, on an exhale, gently release the hands back down to the mat. On your inhale, rise up halfway, pull the heart forward. And then we're going to exhale, begin to walk the hands out to plank position. So we're going to move through a vinyasa next. Once you get to plank pose, feel free to either keep the knees lifted or drop them down. Big inhale. And then we'll exhale to lower ourselves all the way down. Inhale, low cobra, lift the heart. And then exhale, child's pose. So tabletop position, big toes touch, knees spread wide. Sink those hips back to the heels. Pause here. Now if you just want to stay in child's pose, you're fine exactly where you are. If you want to move into a little bit of a shoulder opener here, I'll guide you through that. So if you're moving to the shoulder opener with me, on your next inhale, we're going to lift the hands up off the ground. Elbows stay down, palms will touch. Forehead can either just dangle in the air or you can set the head down on the ground. But you're going to lift the palms, and feel free to look at me if this is confusing. The palms and prayer hands will reach up over the head, maybe towards the back body. If you're not feeling much here, maybe you just kind of inch the elbows a little bit further away from you and allow the chest to sink back down. Should feel something in the triceps, the upper arms, maybe even the shoulders and armpit area. Relax the shoulders as much as you can. If this feels like too much, feel free to move on out of it. Soften the jaw. Breathe through the upper back. Couple more big breaths. Keep your mind in the body, feeling the inhales and exhales. One more big breath. If your hands are in prayer hands, follow an exhale to release them back down. Neutral child's pose. Take a big cleansing breath. And then on your next inhale, walk your hands back towards you until you're sitting up on the heels. And we'll pause here for a reset pose. Bring the knees slightly in towards each other so they're a direct extension of your hip points. If this feels like too much to be sitting here, feel free to even add a pillow or block under your legs so you have something to prop up on. If you want to move into a stretch on the backs of the feet, you'll inhale, lift up, curl the toes under, and then sink on back. That'll stretch the bottoms of the feet a bit. So find if that works in your body. It's just an option. And our reset posture, yet again, is placing the hands over the heart, maybe closing the eyes, and this time tuning in again. Can you feel the heartbeat? Though it may be subtle, maybe you do. Maybe you simply tune into the feeling of the breath. Both are activities within the body that occur here and now, so let yourself be with the sensation of being alive. And as you're here, feel free to either simply listen to my voice or watch as I recap for you for this flow. Alrighty, so we started this flow in a couple rounds of cat-cow, and you choose how many feel good for you as you approach this by yourself. We inhale to lift the heart and look up, and we exhale to round, lifting the shoulder blades. From there, we made our way to a downward facing dog, and we paused there for a couple big breaths, really working into the backs of the legs. And then we made our way to the back of our mat. From here, we lifted up halfway, really elongated the back body, and then we bent the knees so we can make a shelf for the belly. And then option to clasp behind, maybe lift the hands up or towards the front of the room, really working into the shoulder blades. Again, you choose how long you stay in these postures if you go this way. After that posture, we made our way to a vinyasa. So we did plank pose. Inhaled, lower ourselves down. Exhaled, inhaled, low cobra, and then exhaled, child's pose. Once you made your way to child's pose, you had the option for the shoulder stretch, which was prayer hands, possibly making their way in towards the shoulders. Our final posture in that flow was our reset pose of feeling the heartbeat, feeling the breath. So placing the hands on the heart, your choice, whether toes were curled under or flat. So one more time, it was cat-cow to down dog, fold at the back of the mat with a possibility of clasping the hands, vinyasa to child's pose. So about 4 to 5 actions for you. So feel free to make it up as you go, to do that exact thing, to use some of it, part of it, none of it. But this next point of time is for you to just be with yourself and find what feels good in your body. So feel free to incorporate whatever worked for you for the next couple moments. And as you're here, if you need a point to focus on, really focus on that heart center, breathing into the chest or the shoulder blades and trying to feel the physical effects of the breath there. And no matter where you choose to go, where you choose to flow, make sure that it feels good for you tonight. that no matter where you go, you can stay in contact with how you feel in the body, how the breath feels within. And know that my flows and postures are only suggestions, that you know what's best for you, and your body knows organically how to move to release any excess energy within, or just to find what feels good. So trust your intuition. Again, take a moment, check in. What are you thinking about right now? Can you truly pinpoint the activity of the mind? So where it's taken you? Are you currently feeling the body, feeling the breath? If so, stay there. Has the mind taken you to thoughts of the past or the future or imaginary places, things? Really try to get to know yourself. This practice is one of becoming aware. When we become aware of where our mind goes, especially when it's left to our own vices, we get to know ourselves better. And when we do so, we can then understand the inner workings of the mind, of ourselves, and decide what serves us and what doesn't. We can move forward in an enlightened fashion and truly allow ourselves to be. So when your mind thinks, when it takes you away from the breath or the body, be compassionate. The mind's job is to think just as the heart's job is to beat. We are not here to stop the mind from thinking, but to be with it, to get to know it. And we use the anchor of the breath as our tool in the practice. So again, release any notion of shutting the mind off. We're here to just be with ourselves and love ourselves as we are right now. And if and when you notice your mind latching on to internal or external distractions or thoughts, notice it, become aware, and when you're ready to come back to here and now, navigate to what you feel presently. Feel the breath in the body. Feel the strongest sensation you're receiving here and now. And just like with our last flow, whenever you complete your sequence, whatever that may look like, feel free to either continue to flow in ways that feel good for you or take a couple moments to check out your internal landscape. So notice how your mind is, how your body's feeling, and let yourself be within for a couple moments before we proceed. For our final flow, again, only move on if and when you're ready, but for our final flow, we will meet up laying on our bellies. So take your time. You have all the time you need, but we'll eventually meet up there. Once you do make your way towards the belly, if you're going that way, just take a moment to stack your palms and maybe you rest the forehead or one cheek down on your hands. And let yourself take a couple moments to feel the breath in the body. To breathe into the back, into the belly, into the chest. For the first postures in this flow, we'll move through a couple low cobras. So gently lift your head up off the hands if that's where it's at, and then bring the hands under the shoulders. Pause here. On your exhale, squeeze the elbows towards each other. So we want to keep this activation, the elbows squeezing towards each other throughout this flow. On your next inhale, gently peel the heart up, and you can lightly press through the hands. We're focusing on lifting the heart and pulling the elbows towards each other to expand the heart center. On your exhale, slowly lower down. Let's do 2 more like that. So inhale, lifting up, press the hips down as you lift. Exhale, lower. Only lift up to a point that feels good in your body. 1 more time. Inhale to rise. Follow your big breaths. Exhale, lower. We're going to lift and hold now. So inhale, lift on up. Pause at a height that feels comfortable in your body. Keep those elbows squeezing in towards each other. Hips press down. Tops of the toes press into the mat. Couple more big breaths. Breathe into the heart. 2 more big breaths. Feel the inhales and exhales in your body as you're here. On your exhale, slowly lower yourself down. Again, hands can now come by the sides or palms stack one on top of another and just rest for a couple moments. If it feels good to add movements, maybe you just gently rock the hips side to side. Notice what you're feeling and where you're feeling it right now. If that felt good for you and a deep enough back bend, you're going to stay right there for our next flow. If you want to move a little bit further, on your next inhale, this time we're going to bring the hands to clasp behind us. So hands will be on the sacrum just like we did in our forward fold. Interlace the fingers. When your next inhale arises, so big exhale, inhale, lift on up, legs and feet stay on the ground. Hands lift up as the shoulders roll onto the back body, chest shines forward. Exhale, lower, forehead comes down to the earth. 2 more times, then we hold. Inhale, lift on up, reach those hands back. Exhale, forehead comes down. Inhale, lift, you're doing a great job. Exhale, lower. All right, let's hold this round. So inhale, lift on up, pause once you're lifted. Keep those hands lifted up off the low back, reaching backwards. Imagine shrugging the shoulder blades onto the back body. Couple more big breaths. Breathe through the heart center. Low back is keeping you lifted. 1 more big breath. On your exhale, slowly lower down yet again. And again, your choice. Hands can rest by the sides or palms stack and rest the cheek or the forehead. If it feels good, you can shimmy those hips side to side. Again, find what works in your body tonight. All right, so if you want to stay in low cobra or that version of locust pose that we just did, feel free to do so. If you want to move forward with me, bow pose, Dhanurasana, feel free to do so. And we're going to move through it mindfully. So if at any point it feels like too much, feel free to go to one of those lesser versions. Alrighty, if you're moving through bow pose, on your next inhale, bend the knees, flex the feet, and lift the feet up off the ground. So pause here. From here, we're going to reach around and grab a hold of our ankles. Now, before we lift, we're going to try this whole time to keep the thighs and knees on the mat rather than lifting them up. As we do that, we're going to work more into the chest and the thoracic spine. So whenever your next inhale arises, kick the feet back, lift the heart up, and notice my thighs and knees are barely lifting. Hopefully they're not really lifting up behind me, rather than lifting up and coming all the way up to my hips. So really try to cement the thighs down, just kick the ankles into the hands. Again, just like with the clasped hands, shoulder blades roll onto the back body, breathe through the heart. Let's take 2 more big breaths. You got it. Soften the jaw. 1 more big breath. And on your exhale, slowly lower down all the way. Keep the knees bent. And again, maybe you stack the palms, rest the forehead or the cheeks down. Once you're here, maybe you allow the feet to windshield wiper side to side now, dropping them each way. Stay with the breath. Eventually, maybe you lower the feet down to the ground, continue to rock the hips, or simply lay still. And for our final reset posture, once again, we're going to tune into the heart within the chest. So as you rest on the ground, maybe you can feel the heartbeat. Bring your awareness to the chest, the heart center. What do you feel? Maybe you simply tune into the breath in this space. Again, let yourself connect with that spark of life, with the heartbeat, with the breath. Just be in your body. And again, as you're here, I will recap for you your choice if you want to watch or just listen. We started this flow with 3 low cobras. Again, you can choose how many you do, just gently pressing through the hands. And then we held for about 5 breaths. From there, we rested and then made our way to locust pose with the feet on the ground, hands bound behind us. So again, we lifted on the inhales, lowered on the exhales 3 times, and then we held. And then from there, we had the option for bow pose. So we grabbed onto the ankles, and as we were here, we tried to keep the knees and the thighs on the mat, really working into the upper spine and the chest here. And then we rested, found our way to the heartbeat or the breath. Maybe we windshield wipered the knees side to side, and that was that. So it was cobra, locust, option for bow at the end, and then feeling into the heartbeat once more. After you're done with all your back bends, that's when you'll move either into a child's pose to relieve the low back, or a variation of a forward fold. But wait till you're all done with the back bend so we're not kind of flip-flopping the spine back and forth. We'll wait to relieve the low back at the end. So feel free to move forward with that flow. If you're like, I'm done, feel free to be done. Find what works in your body, and then we'll meet up for the closing of class. And again, synchronize your breath with your movements, no matter where you choose to go. Allow the breath to be the pace, the beat of your practice, and it synchronizes the body with the mind, unifying, becoming one as we move through the here and now. Let everything else go. At the beginning of practice, we release the past, we let go of the future, we gave ourselves permission to be. So use the moments in these last postures to surrender the mind, to feel into the body, to truly submerge yourself in here and now by feeling the breath, by feeling the body, and letting everything else go. And whichever pose or shape you're in, notice how you can soften your body, softening the edges of the mind, of the body, relaxing that which is not needed to hold whatever shape you're in. So maybe that means softening the jaw, the toes, the neck. Give yourself a scan. How can you soften? When we relax the face and the body, that translates to the mind and allows it to soften as well. And as you're flowing through these potential back bends, again, find compassion, find love for where your body is at right now and for what it can do. Let go of the shoulds and have-tos and let yourself be and enjoy the perfection of where you're at right in this moment. Again, whenever you complete your back bends, you have all the time you need, but when you do, feel free to make your way to some sort of folding forward posture. So whether that's child's pose, a forward fold with the legs extended, Baddha Konasana, find what works for you, but give yourself some sort of low back relief after your back bends. Again, notice where your mind is at. What are you thinking about? If and when you want to return to here and now, navigate on back to feeling your breath, to feeling the body. And once you've completed your back bends, if you are working through that flow, and some sort of forward fold, we will eventually meet up laying on our backs. So again, take your time, only meet up when you're ready. I'm going to slowly transition to laying down, and feel free to either meet me there or not. Find what works for you tonight. If and when you do find a resting posture on your back body, just take a moment to hug the knees in towards the chest one more time, wrapping your arms around the legs, and give yourself a gentle rock side to side. As you rock, press the hips, the low back down into the mat. Give yourself a little low back massage here. And then I'm going to leave the closing of practice up to you. So your choice. Maybe you add in a happy baby, butterfly legs, maybe a simple twist. Find anything that suits your body right now before our final resting pose of Shavasana. So again, take the next couple of moments to just let your body, let your practice wind down to this final resting position. And we'll meet up resting on our mats, limbs extended for Shavasana. And if you're still flowing, feel free to take all the time you need. If you are resting on your back body, take a moment to puff up the chest, inch the shoulders down the back body, and lower them back down to the mat, creating space around the neck and ears. Eventually, gently draw your eyes closed and begin to invite in a soft, easy, a relaxed state to your mind, to your body, to the space all around and within you. Begin to soften your body even further, starting by relaxing the crown, the top of the head. Soften the forehead, the eyebrows. Allow the eyes to sink back towards the skull. Relax your temples, the cheekbones. Soften the jaw. Relax your lips and the teeth. And gently float the tongue down away from the roof of the mouth. Relax the back of your head and the scalp. Soften the ears. Allow the back of the neck to relax along with the sides and the front, opening the throat. Melt the shoulders towards the ground beneath you. Relax the upper arms and the elbows. Soften the lower arms and the wrists. Relax your hands, allowing the fingers to naturally curl inwards. Soften your chest, rib cage, the belly, and allow the back body to get heavy as it melts towards the ground beneath you. Soften your hips, the glutes, the pelvic area. Relax the upper legs and the knees. Soften the lower legs and the ankles. And allow the feet to splay outwards as every toe gets a little bit lighter. Notice if you're holding on anywhere else in your body, and simply let go. Let it all melt away. Allow this inner state of relaxation and ease to translate to your mind, softening the mind as though it's a muscle itself, letting it melt and fade away. For the next couple of moments, let yourself simply be in this state. Allow yourself to keep drifting away, soaking in the goodness of your practice this evening. Only when you feel ready, gently begin to invite the awareness back in towards your body. Maybe you begin to introduce small wiggles to the toes, the fingers, the wrists and ankles. Once you feel ready to move, gently, slowly roll over to one side And pause there to rest in a fetal position. Again, take all the time you need. When you're ready, slowly, gently press yourself all the way up to seated, keeping the eyes softly closed as you move. Again, take your time. We'll eventually meet up with the eyes closed and palms touching at heart center. Take a couple of moments to consciously observe how you feel right now. Bring your awareness to your mind, to your head space. Notice the quality, the texture, how it feels. What word describes the state of your mind right now? Gently bring your awareness to your body. Notice how it feels. What word describes the state of your body right now? And gently tune into your emotional well-being. What emotion do you feel in this moment? And simply notice, observe, let it be. There's no good, bad, right or wrong. We're just becoming aware. Gently give yourself a smile and truly thank yourself for showing up here this evening, for spending time with you. Thank you very much for sharing your beautiful energy and practice with me and everybody else who joined in tonight. The light in me truly honors the light in you. Namaste.